There's nothing better than a brain-dead game. I don't mean that offensively, put down the pitchforks, everyone. I just mean that sometimes it's nice to hold the S and left mouse buttons and zone out to the orchestra of violence. If you can't tell by my voice, I've been sick for over a week, so it's nice to have a game where all I have to do is shoot, and that's literally it. No, I'm not talking about old Serious Sam, even though you're seeing an ancient setting with tons of enemies. This is Will Rock, baby. Will Rock, it's a game. I wasn't really sure how to present this. I never played it and always knew it as that time Ubisoft tried to copy Serious Sam, even though it was developed by Saber Interactive, who we'll get to shortly. Anyway, with no prior knowledge, all I could assume is that it was worse Serious Sam, right? Well, not exactly. Will Rock does have some interesting tidbits, let me tell you, and it starts as soon as you open the main menu. I can't play it without receiving a copyright claim, but I Wanna Rock by Twisted Sister plays. Kind of funny they didn't get Queen, because We Will Rock You is much closer to the game's title, but I guess Twisted Sister was cheaper. Throughout the course of playing, I began to hate this song because every time you paused the game, the song would continue. At least it didn't start over, I suppose, like the same few initial notes, but I still don't want to hear Twisted Sister for a bit just to recover. There's 4 difficulties to choose from. I went with what I assume is normal. Tell me how much of a baby I am in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And then we just get an excellent intro. It's all in comic book form, starts with an exposition dump about some Greek mythology stuff, then we get introduced to Will Rock and hear him speak.
We left Chicago happy to thaw out in Greece. Some students from Athens invited us on an expedition near Mount Olympus. They said they'd found the entrance to a secret temple at the base of the mountain, so we grabbed our gear and didn't look back. It had taken 2,000 years to discover, but we wasted no time trying to help them gain entrance. 3 of us made the journey across the Big Blue. Dr. Richard Headstrong, specialist in cryptology. His daughter Emma, need I say more?
Yeah, I guess we'll. Anyway, the girl gets kidnapped by the obvious terrorists, and they're going to offer her to Zeus because she's a virgin. Will Rock shoots a statue and releases Prometheus, who, as a reward for freeing him, gives Mr. Rock powers. What kind of powers? I guess 100 health and the ability to shoot straight. I don't know. Then the game starts. Right off the bat, I can say that the game looks pretty good. The game was released in 2003, and that year was pretty diverse when it came to releases, so it'd be hard to do a true fair comparison, but I think it looks genuinely nice. There's a lot of open areas with a lot of assets on the screen. It's ancient Greece, so it's a lot of brown and marble. It's clean, it's effective. There's a few times where the game mixes up atmosphere, but generally it's standard Greek antiquity. The weapons look, I mean, it's no Call of Duty, but, they're serviceable. I think the funniest little detail about the weapons is the lever action shotgun. You hear that reload? That sound fills me with so much nostalgia because it was also used in Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. This cartridge here, oh boy, I played that game to death. It got a Windows port I never played up until a few years ago. It's got the best Hoth sequence out of all the Star Wars games. The rest of it is another video maybe. Just know that Shadows of the Empire is a love-hate kind of thing for me. But yeah, when you pick up special ammo, it makes the same noise. Must be a free asset or something. Last thing about the visuals is the widescreen. This is not out of box. I was going to play the game normally with 4x3 because, hey, it's 2003, but there was some issues. So I used DG Voodoo, and here we are, widescreen on Windows 10. That's not the only needed fix, though. The game has Safe Disk, which doesn't work on Windows 10, so I had to find a fix somewhere online. But every site that had said fix is a tad sketchy, so I'm not going to link anything. Just Google and explore at your own risk. So what about the gameplay? Well, it's Serious Sam. It got me thinking. Is there any other blatant Serious Sam clones out there? Not indie per se, but more big-name commercial physical releases such as this. The only thing I could think of is like Nitro Family, maybe. Painkiller to a small degree, maybe? I don't know. It's just kind of wild how much this game borrows from Serious Sam. Take these skeleton enemies. They have a ranged attack, but also rush to attack you. Reminds me of the Sam skeleton enemies, the Clears. The differences are just minor, like Greece instead of Egypt, albeit still during ancient times. Some of the guns reload, which, correct me if I'm wrong, there was 0 reloading in Sam until 3 in 2011. There's 3 power-ups you can find at these altars that are one-time use. They're okay. I never used them after the first time. One is a temporary damage boost, the other is invincibility, and the last one slows down time, but it also slows you down. The game is pretty easy, and these powers are rarely needed, so I stopped seeking them out. You have a health number thingy along armor 1 pickups can push these numbers beyond 100, but I can never tell which ones actually do that and which ones don't. The enemies are pretty varied, but what's cool is their entrances. They pop up out of the ground or they come out of the walls. Only a very few baddies teleport in. Probably the funniest encounters are the bosses. Take the first one, for example. I never let go of the mouse button. This was honestly cracking me up in the moment. I was just shooting, and it was just this constant stream of noise from the machine gun. I'm not sure if this is actually funny or if it was the cold flu medicine talking at the time. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure if someone showed me this and I had no idea Will Rock existed, I probably would have guessed that it was one of the 50 million Sam spinoffs in the series. I'd be like, oh, yeah, that's probably a Serious Sam clone. Serious Sam in Greece or something. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. Serious Sam is a legitimately good game. I do eventually want to revisit all the Serious Sam games at some point to see how I feel about them nowadays, because I haven't really played them in like seriousness. Sometimes I'm a funny guy. Crack me up sometimes. I crack myself up. What was I saying? What was I saying? I don't know. As a final note, let's briefly talk about Saber. It's kind of interesting that this is their first game. After this, they would develop their own engine and create Time Shift. Never played it because it always seemed pretty bland, but I do know some people who have a soft spot for it, or at least consider it a guilty pleasure. Eventually, they worked on the Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition. Their subsidiaries also do some stuff, but lately, when I hear Saber, I think those dudes who port things, Vampire Switch, Witcher 3 Switch, Call of Cthulhu Switch, I think you get the idea. I haven't played any of those ports besides Vampire, so I can't speak to their fidelity. However, there was an announcement long ago that Kingdom Come Deliverance was going to be ported to Switch by Saber. I love to see how they managed to pull that one off, but ever since this announcement, I haven't really heard anything. Saber was added to Embracer's Infinity Gauntlet. Not sure what that means for their future, if anything, but So yeah, I recommend Will Rock. It's extremely worth playing if you're a fan of shooting a million enemies at once. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Let me know what other games you'd like to see covered. Spooktober is around the corner, so I'll be working on the Halloween game. I wonder what it could be. Ooh. Until then, I need to go buy a new Esky, and I'm going to go take a flu coma. Yeah, I'm going to go knock out. Bye-bye.